Hear you. Okay, well, welcome everybody. This is Stephanie Scheller. This is our Business Owner Spotlight. And the reason we're doing this Business Owner Spotlight is because there are some pretty incredible business owner stories out there that do not get the chance to be shared, do not get the chance to be reproduced and to inspire you. Because let's be honest, yeah, it's inspiring to see someone, go out there and grow a multi-million, $100 million company in 3 years, but we don't all get to do that. And sometimes when you hit your 3-year mark and you're not at 100 million, it's discouraging. And so this spotlight is designed to help people like you who say, hey, I don't just want to hit the target. I want to smash that sucker. I want to destroy it, reset the target, but you need a little bit of inspiration. And that is why we have Esther with us today. So Esther, thank you for taking time to join me for the Business Owner Spotlight.
Thanks for inviting me, Stephanie. It's great to meet you.
It is awesome to meet. So in case you guys couldn't tell, Esther has a very special location she's from. Esther, why don't you tell them where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Northern Ireland.
I love the Irish accent. Just get so excited. I keep telling my husband, I'm like, why don't you, he was in England for 8 years. I'm like, why don't you have an accent? He's like, because it doesn't work that way, Steph. But so Esther, you and I have not really chatted much before this. Why don't you start by telling me, and for those of us listening, who you are, what you do, kind of your story, your business story, how you got to where you are.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm first and foremost a mother, 2 little boys. I'm a wife, I'm a business owner, and I actually work alongside my husband, which a lot of people find really strange, is that we can get along 24/7 and rarely tear each other's hairs out. Right? So what we do is we do all things digital, everything that you need to keep your business going and to make it better. We provide that access for you and go above and beyond what you need. We're basically the best digital ally any business person can get. My background, I studied business and Spanish at university. I then went and lived in Mexico for 12 years. Oh, nice. That's where I met my husband. So we provide bilingual services as well for anyone that needs Spanish and English. We also speak American English if necessary. So we've been back in the UK now for 2.5 years, and that's when we started our business.
So what made you decide you wanted to start your own business instead of going and working for somebody else?
Well, I tried to go and work for someone else, but when you've been out of the country for 12 years, you seem to be unemployable. It was just a matter of survival. It was either, get a job or make your own job or have nothing. So when there was no jobs available, it was down to us to build our own empire.
Nice. I love how you phrased that, build your own empire. So what's the empire you're building? Where are you going with this? Do you want to dominate the globe?
Why not? With us being online, then anywhere is accessible. We have clients in Brazil, Argentina, Australia, nice. America, Spain. Told you we could speak American as well. The Republic of Ireland, the United Kingdom, Mexico. Yeah, I forgot about Mexico. So basically, world domination is just around the corner.
Now, so you work with your husband. I'm curious about this one because you're absolutely right. I've seen marriages degrade over this whole working together as husband and wife thing. So how do you guys balance that out?
Sometimes we take shifts. He would work a lot more with the Mexican side, so that's 6 to 8 hours time difference. So he might be working until 3-4 o'clock in the morning, whereas I would tend to knock off about midnight and get up with the kids in the morning while he sleeps. And we do a bit of shift work. But recently we've been working in tandem, and it's been going really well. We do take our weekends very seriously and take time off and try not to talk about business over the weekend. It doesn't always work, but we don't argue about it. And I think we just work really well together, and we can just I don't know, he's sitting listening here, so I better not say anything too bad.
Come back to you later, be like, wait a second.
I'm blushing now.
So, okay. So then you said 2.5 years, right? Since you started your business? 2.5 years. What has been probably the biggest piece of advice or the biggest lesson you guys have learned that you would share with someone else who to help them avoid having to learn it the hard way like you did?
Know how to price yourself. Know what you're worth. Know your value. Know that not everyone is your customer. Not everyone's going to be okay with what you charge or what services you offer. And that's okay, because you can't be everything to everyone. But also, like Richard Branson says, say yes to things and then learn how to do it along the way.
I think that one gets tempered a little bit when you know who your customer is too, because if it's your customer, say yeah. If that's the person, like for me, right? If I find that person, like I was chatting with a guy this morning and I'm listening to him talk and I'm like, oh my God, you're so my customer. Like, let's do this. And if he'd come up with something, he didn't, but if he'd come up with something totally off the wall, because he fits the psychographic profile of my customer, I probably would have said, yeah, let's do it. As opposed to that person that I'm kind of like, I don't think you're the person, right? So for me, I look at like, who wants to, instead of just hit the target, let's smash it. Like I said at the beginning, like, let's blow this sucker up. When I find that person, I'll do whatever, right? Say yes, figure out how to do it later. Absolutely.
Definitely. Some people are worth it and some people just aren't. So
when they're not worth it, they're really not worth it.
They're really not. Yeah. No, and don't hang on to someone and the potential of a client just for money. It's really not worth it.
It's not. I actually went through, I know this isn't about me, but I went through a period earlier this year where I'd taken on some clients more out of, I hate to use the word pity, but I took them on kind of the bleeding heart syndrome. I wanted to help them out and they didn't really fit my client criteria. So I kind of put it into the whole like, okay, it was the same thing for me as someone taking on a client because they needed money, right? I took them on against my better judgment because it was like, oh, I really want to help them. And they ended up causing me so much heartache and so much frustration that I missed out on several clients that were like really, really would have been cool to work with because I was in the wrong place mentally because I was like back and forth fighting with these guys. So I could totally speak to that one because but you did mention something that I know a lot of, especially solopreneurs and beginner entrepreneurs, really struggle with: pricing themselves. How do you figure this out? Like, how do you figure out how to price yourself and what you're really truly worth?
I think at the start, you have to look at your competitors. Look at what they're charging, and if it even means, phoning them up and asking them for a quote, inventing a different business, obviously, because otherwise, figure out what they're charging and go around that. Okay, so either go a little bit lower or a little bit higher, but with more built into it, so that people can see, if you start off, like we build websites, for example, it's just one of the many areas that we do. So if I turn around and say, yeah, I'll build you a website for $500, people go, that's far too cheap. Like it's going to be rubbish. Whereas if I go, yeah, I'll build you one for $20,000, you go, whoa, what am I getting for that? So you have to back up, don't go too cheap, because then people won't value you and you won't value yourself. But don't go, the other way either. You have to find the happy medium and find what works for your customer, because like I said before, not everyone's your customer. So if you're aiming for the small businesses, then work a different model, use a different scheme, do something that stands out for them. Whereas if you're going for the big multinationals, then they're going to expect the quotes of 20 grand and 30 grand and above, because that's what they're used to, but they're also used to people being there 24/7 for them.
Yeah, the custom coded website.
Yeah. And I mean, don't be afraid to expand. we're only 2.5 years in, but we're already, we've already got a big team behind us. You know, don't be afraid to go out there and find people who will work with you, instead of for you. I don't like the whole employee aspect. We have people who work with us and alongside us and hand in hand, because then they feel like they're part of it rather than it's just a paycheck.
Yeah. What do you think was, this is kind of a switching gears, but I mean, I think you answered that one well. You like, I don't feel like there's more to say on that one. What would you say was probably the hardest part? Because you guys had this whole, we basically have to start a business. We haven't been in the country. It's either this, it's do or die. What was the hardest part of getting your business off the ground and going to where you actually, you know, can afford to not be eating? We talk about, right, you live in Mexico, rice and beans, right? You know.
Yeah, exactly. And we still do. But now because we like them and not because we have to.
Right. But so what was the hard part of all that for you guys?
The hard part was not having the support of family. Whenever we came home, we had, you know, our family were happy to have us back in the country and happy to see us. But the United Kingdom has a policy of, if you don't work, then we'll pay you not to work. You know, they have benefits. So everybody just assumed that we would be on benefits. And that's not how I was brought up. That's not me. I don't like to just sit around and do nothing. So whenever we started off the business and we went to our family members who own their own businesses and said, look, we will build you a website. We will run your social media campaigns. We will do XYZ for free to build our portfolio. They all said no. And we were going to do it for free. So, I mean, that initial setback and that initial rejection was just really tough. Yeah. But once I got our first client, then it was just, I won't say plain sailing, but it was easier. It was definitely, you know, you get your confidence after your first one, and that just keeps building and building and building. And I have to say, like, everybody told us, you know, it'll take 5 years, it'll take 3 years, you'll probably won't be making any money until at least the end of the 3rd year. And thankfully that hasn't been our case.
Wow. Which is very difficult to do. But I think you just hit on something really, really valuable, in that we get a lot of people who go in, and not just business owners, you know, network marketers do this all the time. And business owners do this too, where they go and they say, you know what, my, you know, friends, my family are going to hire me, or they're going to let me do the free stuff. And, you know, sometimes it's harder to give away, kind of moving back to the whole know your worth. It's harder to give something away than sell it sometimes, because people are so either skeptical of the giveaway process, or, you know, skeptical of your value at that point when you offer to give it away. And that setback mentally can just floor you at that point. You're like, oh my God, people won't even take my stuff for free. I can't charge people. No one will take it for free.
Yeah. And that's definitely how it started. I mean, we were just going, what do we do? You know, if people don't, like you said, if people don't even want it for free, who's going to pay for it? So we just kept going.
How did you get your first client?
My car broke down. My car broke down, and I went to a local business. And my parents were from here. I moved back home to my hometown. And I mean, when I say town, there's less than 3,000 people here. So it'd be like a village for you guys. But I went to the nearest business and asked for the owner, because I knew him. I grew up with him, always coming around our house and helping my father out and stuff. So I went and asked if he could help me, because I knew nobody. I came back after 15 years away between university and Mexico. I knew nobody. Asked if he could give me a push or a lift home or something, and then just got talking. Oh, so what are you doing now? Yeah, well, I'm building websites. I'm doing graphic design. I'm doing social media management, basically all things digital and technology and everything. He goes, oh, well, we need a new website. So The best thing ever to happen to me was to have my car break down.
You know what? Because sometimes we forget, like, you know what? Something totally crappy could happen. But the interview I did with the lady before you, Tamara, she was talking about how, things can like totally shift. A lot of it relies on perspective, and something bad can happen, and it can actually end up being an amazing thing for you because, you got your first client out of it. Like, who would have thought? But she said something, she was talking about how it doesn't matter, it's not when you're tired, it's what you do when you're tired. And I think it's the same thing, right? It's not whether or not something bad happens, it's what you do when something bad happens that defines you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all rainbows and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and there's the day is always darkest before the dawn, and trying to remember all that whenever it is dark is the hardest, because you just keep seeing the darkness. But yeah, it comes, and there are ups and downs. I mean, yeah, we're 2.5 years in business, but we're still growing and making changes and making mistakes, because that's what you do. Because was it I read the other day, the opposite of success isn't failure, the opposite of success is quitting. So as long as you're not quitting, then you're being successful. But learn from your failures and learn from your mistakes.
So what do you do? This will have to be our last question, I think, just because we want to keep these short and sweet for people. But what do you do when you do get down? When you get, when it's darkest, right before the dawn? How do you keep going? Because that's the moment when, and sometimes for people, I mean, you're 2.5 years in business. I'm sure you still have those moments. Like, there's still moments when you're sitting there going, are we making payroll today? Right? So like, how do you keep going? Where do you get your motivation to keep pushing through those?
My kids. I look at my kids and go, I'm able to work from home. I'm able to work around them. If this doesn't work and I have to go and find something, find a job, and my husband does too, then somebody else has to look after them. And that's just, I did that in Mexico, and I'm not prepared to go back to do that again. I'm not, I see them, and I see that I can take my work with me on the phone. I can tweet from anywhere while we're sitting in the park, while they're playing football, and I'm, cheering from the sidelines. Sorry, that's soccer.
Gotcha.
I can take it anywhere. And we went on holidays just last week, and I mean, that's probably the best thing that we could have done, was just to take time out and step back and have a week of not having to worry about whose website needs done, and whose Twitter account isn't up to date, and things like that. I mean, it's just take a step back, look at your priorities, reevaluate, and if necessary, take a turn. Just cut something out or add something in, or just do something else. If necessary, just sit and do nothing for 20 minutes, half an hour.
That's probably a really good note to end on, because I think as business owners, when things are not going well, our tendency is to let's go, let's fix it. And sometimes just sitting, that's hard for me, at least. So, but it is valuable.
Yeah.
So I really want to thank you. I know you've got a lot going on over there right now. I really want to thank you for taking time to do this interview with me today. I think I took notes. I've got, you dropped some awesome nuggets. Thank you so much for taking time for this.
Thanks for phoning us, and 6-hour time difference, and we're able to make it work.
I know, right? This is the beauty of the internet today. So for my readers, listeners, followers out there, this is exactly what I want to be doing right now, is highlighting these incredible people who can help you out. And if you feel like maybe you're the right person for an interview, or somebody that you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is the business owner Steph needs to talk to next, please, obviously it doesn't matter where they are in the world. I would love to chat with them. 15, 20 minutes to give them a chance to showcase their story and share what they have, because I understand that not only do we need reminders sometimes for why we're where we're at, but sometimes it's great to be able to share that with other people. I'm looking for those people right now who don't just want to hit the target, they're ready to smash through it. So if that's you, let's go along for the ride.